You have found yourself on another episode of Locked on Bulls. In today's episode, me and Pat will be discussing the Bulls' chances at a top 4 pick. And then we're going to also ask the question, if the Bulls do get a top 4 pick, should they consider trading that to bring in a more ready star that's ready to go right now? We're going to talk about that, plus Defensive Player of the Year, and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for tuning in to Locked on Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central. Pat, let's get into it, man. The Bulls won a coin toss in which now they have a 1.8% chance at the number one overall pick and an 8% chance to keep their pick, and with it falling in the top 4. Hey, how do you feel about the Bulls' chances right now to land the top pick in this year's draft?
Don't what?
Don't give me hope.
Why y'all? Why we doing it? Don't do this. When we came into this offseason and it was 1.7 and it was, oh my goodness, could the Chicago Bulls have another Derrick Rose situation? First thing, no, we can't. No, we're not. We have no shot at having any kind of Derrick Rose situation. It's not going to happen. And then all of a sudden, boom, we won a coin flip against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I feel a little hope rising up. I'm trying to shove that back down.
That motion was a little deep for Locked On, bro.
Listen.
Don't do that again. Don't do that again.
Was that yeah, man. It's not the worst. It's not the worst we've had on this show. It's not the worst we've had on this show.
We've done a lot worse on this show.
This show's been bad. Yeah. But no, I just think, like, to me, right, like it's one of those situations where I want the Bulls to win. The odds are not in our favor. And the Derrick Rose year to me was such a fluke because the odds haven't been in our favor since that year. So I'm still not expecting us to get this pick. I'm still not expecting us to keep our pick. My hope is that we get at a minimum a 4th pick, right? But like I don't have high hopes for anything. We got 7 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And then on one of them, we had an opportunity to take a player who's literally destroying the league offensively in the playoffs right now. And we didn't take him. We wanted Wendell. It's not in our favor, man.
Here's what I'll say. It gives stuff to talk about. It gives hope. And don't get me wrong, with how up and down this Bulls season's been, I understand every Bulls fan now focused on this 1.8% chance. I fully expect there to be Bulls fans with custom-made 1.8% T-shirts wearing it up and down all day long, just waiting for the draft. It's not. Listen, here's the thing. It's not happening. I'm gonna keep saying it's not happening. So therefore, if it does ever happen, I could be surprised. But one thing I'm not gonna do is get my hopes up on a 1.8% chance. Now, the 8% chance to fall in the top 4. Here's what I'll say with that. I want to look at the last couple of drafts, and there have been ever since they flattened out the lottery odds, there have been some teams that have completely moved up into that top 4 area, into the top 5 area. When it comes to things, but here's my thing. God ain't listening. We said this before.
That's the pause. That's the pause, bro.
God is not. God has left the Chicago Bulls fandom for a long time, bro. Like I said, if it falls in the top 4, realistically though, Pat, tough season. A lot of still. Either way, there's going to be some tough decisions to make. If we get the pick or not get the pick. But do you think is a top 4 pick? The concern that I have is that would be a loan for give reason, aka loan, to run everything else back with a top 4 talent and say, well, we added lottery talent. We feel we're in a good position. Does that not scare you a little bit?
No, because I mean, listen, running it back the NBA season was weird this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that a lot of these teams have an opportunity in the lottery that didn't. The Dallas Mavericks aren't in the playoffs. They were in the Western Conference Finals last season. The entire season is weird. If you run this entire thing back next season, I don't know if you get a 40-42 team again next season. The Chicago Bulls might fare better in this situation. They've had a season where they lost all the worst teams, beat all the best. They've had a season where they beat all the best or beat all the worst teams, lost all the best. Now they flip-flop that around. Going into next season, right? Maybe it's the season where they start to put it together. There was so much weird parity in this year just based on like teams that we thought were going to take steps that didn't, teams that people thought were going to move up that did. Like, so to me, right, like if you were to run it back with the opportunity of getting a top 4 pick next season, I wouldn't be upset about that because you know what your future is, right? Like, at least in my mind, I just think that there's a scenario. I see a scenario where, to me, right, you could run that back with 2 top 4 picks in Patrick Williams and whoever you were going to go out there and get, Scoot Henderson, Victor Wembanyama, whatever it may be. I'm gonna be honest with you. Do we even know who 3 and 4 are? Right, like that's really where we are with this draft.
The
like
Thompson brothers.
Yeah, facts. Just both of them. So I could see a scenario where I'd be okay with running it back with how weird the parity in this league is, but I guess there's something Kid always says that I'm not going to act like we can just throw away. It is hard to develop a young piece while still focusing on trying to win right now. I think that would probably be a situation where, unless it's just a big and it's because you're letting Vooch walk, which Wembanyama would be if we got the number 1 overall pick, I don't see a situation where the Bulls keep everybody here.
See, the thing is I think that if you do get, and we're complete meathead right now. So just by the way, we're
hypothetical.
Yeah, mad hypothetical. If you do get Wembanyama, you then, to me, I think it increases your chances of keeping Vooch, so that way you can have a veteran there while he's developing. To me, now I'm not saying that that's like the thing that you have to do, but that may be, because listen, Wembanyama, he's already added some weight to his frame since he really started popping up on the scene and people started discussing him. But that frame, I'm worried a little bit about that, at least initially in that first year. So I don't know if you maybe want to throw him right out to being your starting center. I think you re-sign Vooch, maybe on a 3-year deal. You not to say that Wembanyama's on the bench that whole time, but give him that time. And then at that point, I'm literally finding the very, you know how like the churches have those drop boxes for clothes when you're donating? We're dropping Marko Simonovic in one of those boxes the day that we win the lottery. Just drop them off. Somebody come up and pick them up. Don't even worry about it.
You dropping off Marko at the Goodwill, bro? You dropping off Marko at the Goodwill?
Yeah, we're dropping off Marko Simonovic at the Goodwill, bro. You know, somebody figure him out, dust him off, a lightly used European center. Somebody get him. Don't worry about it.
We know who it's gonna be. It's gonna be Pat Riley, and he's gonna turn him into a superstar that dominates us every time we play against.
Either that or Pop. Pop be like, we didn't get Wembanyama. Let's go ahead and bring him in here.
Pop takes him. All of a sudden, he turns into Tim Duncan.
Yeah, he's 20-12 guy for the next 8 years. You know, it is what it is.
He just makes him tall, Jakob Poeltl.
I don't know if Marco's ever gonna play the defense of Jakob. You know what?
That's facts.
Another place he can go is Dallas Mavericks. They just gonna need some talent. They just gonna be signing people.
They just signing them because of European.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
would be the only
so
reason Dallas was signed.
That's it. Yeah, just
that's
so
it.
Talk to Luka.
I don't know, man. Like it's a, like you said, it's a meathead top of the draft scenario kind of thing, right? Like, again, the fact that we're even here is just kind of a don't give us hope type of situation.
Yeah.
I do think that there is something to be said to what you would have to go into if you were going development, because I think that happens 1 through 4, right? Like, I think that question comes up no matter who you have there. Are you going to focus on the development of these guys? Because it's not a coincidence that every time we put these guys in a little bit of a role and just put a ball in their hands, all of a sudden they can play basketball.
Yeah. I mean, hey, role is important in having and building confidence. That's another thing too, is the confidence. So, you know, if the Bulls do, if we in, because when's the draft lottery? What is it, like 2 months away? I know the draft is
2 months
until
away,
June.
I believe. Yeah.
So that's a long time of hope. Oh my God, Bulls fans about to go crazy. I love y'all, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
You know what we finna get? We finna get, Wembanyama wears 1 and 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. And if you take that 1.5 and put it with the 1, that's 11.5. And if you subtract that back, you already know that that's what's coming. It's gonna end up, and that's how you get. And if you divide that 11.5 by 7 championships, you're gonna end up with 1.8. It's like, wait a minute, dog. How'd you do that? Like, what?
That's exactly how it happened, too. That's what's crazy about it.
Let's see Red Fred when you need him. I need to see Red Fred out here doing that.
He's working on the episode right now. It'll probably drop by the time we do this. He definitely has it out there.
Hey, here's the thing. I was just joking. 11.5 divided by 6 does equal 1.9.
That is hilarious. Wow. Oh, that's funny. But next up, we're going to talk about if the Bulls do wind up with a top 4 pick, should they keep it or should they try to maybe use that to package and trade for a star so they can run it back and try to contend right now. But before we do that, huh?
I said run it back.
Before we do that, I got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section or row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. Get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds. 2 taps and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone so you never have to dig through your email. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. All right, Pat. So now since we are in complete and utter meathead territory, we have to talk about if the Bulls do get the top 4 pick because it is coming by the math you just gave. I'm sure the dude at the end of the last Matrix movie, the architect, he just completely, cooked it up for the Bulls. Do you keep it? Or do you think that with rumors of a Jaylen Brown, of hell, maybe even Luka, Trae Young, even though I don't want baby cap on my team, but hey, Trae Young may be out there, maybe DeJounte Murray. Like, do you draft that with that top 4 pick and kind of kick that can down the road, or do you kind of use that to repackage and reconfigure and bring some talent into this team? Dame Lillard's another one that we could talk about, and bring some talent into this team to where it does fit with the timeline of the players that you do have now. Where would you sit on that, Pat?
If we add a piece, does it make us a championship team? If Dame Lillard's on the Chicago Bulls, does it make us a championship team? If Jaylen Brown is on the Chicago Bulls, does it make us a championship team? I think it gets you closer. I do. And in this NBA, right, closer means a lot.
Yeah. Sure.
It really does, because there's a lot of opportunity for everybody out here. Like, closer does mean a lot. So it does get you closer. But can you guarantee that you're going to see an NBA Finals with that team? Are you getting that caliber of player? Because what the feeling is around the guy that's coming out, at least at number 1, right? Or at least the other, I'd say maybe 2 as well. I think Scoot Henderson, people are feeling like is going to be that level of player. Maybe not as high as Wemby, but that he's actually got some star level talent coming into this NBA. Those guys are being talked about as guys that are expected to get you to NBA championships at some point in their career. Those guys are being talked about as guys that are Joel Embiid's, that are Jason Tatum's, that are I don't know about Kevin Durant. Like, y'all got to relax on that.
But
right?
every almost every draft, those top 2 players are kind of looked at that at the time because they're prospects. They're not. You can talk yourself into any ceiling right with that at that point. While
I don't know.
I mean.
Because right,
draft.
like,
you have some drafts where you're just like, hey, this draft is weak. But
I think our scenario is different because there's talent here already, right? Like we're kind of in a not to the extent, but we're kind of in a how Golden State got James Wiseman. It was like, oh, you're adding in that piece you finally needed. Like there's already talent on the roster now, nowhere near Golden State talent. Everybody freaking out now, what's Pat talking about? Like no, but you know that's exactly the fact that you're adding talent to talent. I think it's a little bit of a different situation than if I'm evaluating Anthony Edwards going to the Minnesota Timberwolves when I think that the talent that they have on that team is subpar anyway.
True. But I also then at that point we're trusting Billy Donovan to develop somebody. If Billy Donovan still the coach, I'd almost like it depends on who you're getting, right? Like a Trae Young, no, that doesn't make you anywhere closer. A Dame, a Jaylen Brown, like having a 1-2 punch of Zach LaVine and as a great offensive player, and then having a two-way great player in Jaylen Brown. I'm kind of betting on that more than I'm betting on. It depends. If it's number 1 or 2, no, you go that. At this draft, you go that. I'm more so, I guess, thinking if it falls 3 or 4, at that point, that's where I consider trading.
I think it also depends on what kind of star you can net.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, listen, if I can go out there and I can get Jaylen Brown, sure. Because I know the Bulls are going to be, at a minimum, they'll be a solid playoff team.
This is true.
For the next 5, 6, 7 years, right? Like that, Jaylen Brown, Zach LaVine, both around the same age, both young, coming into their own, trying to find their way. I'm fine with that, right? Like, but I think that even if you're talking about that 3rd or 4th pick, you have to feel so good about the team that you're going to be able to put around that team. And again, the difference here is that you do have to take into account is we're Chicago, right? Like again, Chicago does matter here, because like. People can come here. Like, was I talking about? I think I was talking about it on the Daily Show because Kid was talking about the Pelicans trading Zion. It's like nobody's going to New Orleans. Nobody wants to be in New Orleans. New Orleans signs people immediately because they know people don't want to be in New Orleans. That's why they throw them the baggy bag. Like nobody wants to be in some of these cities, and they're not as marketable as if I'm just Kobe White in Chicago. Kobe White has a Zenny optical commercial that plays around the country, by the way. I didn't know that. I didn't know that part. It does play like around the country. Kobe White has been mid up until this season, where he just got a little bit better than mid. Chicago means a lot to these guys from a business standpoint, from a living standpoint, from a city standpoint, right? Like it's not just about the lifestyle you can live, it's about the money that you can make. So I think that in those situations, right, like when you're talking about making those trades, you're also thinking about your future in that.
Yeah.
You're thinking about if I get Jaylen Brown, then who else can I get to come to the Chicago Bulls? If I get Damian Lillard, who else can I build this team out with? You have to take all those things into account. If you feel like you can put a championship team together, I mean, listen, is it a ballsy move? Heck yeah. But I would rather AK be ballsy and go out and get a proven player than a project, unless maybe it's Wembanyama. Wembanyama to me is a project that even if we even if we have our concerns on him, I think he's not going to just come into the league and be a monster the second he steps on the court, like many people believe.
Oh, and that would be another thing. If Wembanyama comes in and he literally isn't 20 and 15,000 at the first time he comes in, Bulls fans, oh my God, we did it again. Him and Patrick, come on. I love Bulls fans, but Lord knows, bro.
Oh, it'll be ridiculous. But I think to me, that's a situation where you would get a guy. That's why, to me, you can't bring back Vooch. You can't have anybody in front of him. You pick a guy that high, he's your guy. Like, number 1 overall, that's your guy. Like, even though Zach LaVine is making $215, that's your guy. Like, you're planning on winning championships with the number 1 overall pick. You're not planning on, like, building a team.
But that's the thing. Like, that's where we can't get caught up in the now and lose the future. You throw Wembanyama out there immediately. Yeah, he's probably going to ball. He's going to have some big games. But, like, to me, because you do have Vooch and you have the ability to re-sign him with bird rights, I would bring him back personally, just because of you have the opportunity. Hell, I don't know, man. It's two mindsets to go about it, and I'm not saying one is more right than the other.
Scenario is P. Will, though, right? Like we all believe that P. Will would be further along in development if DeMar wasn't ahead of him, right?
To a degree, yeah.
We fit like just because it's like, hey, listen, like it's Zach and you, like you got to take. Like he doesn't get the opportunity to be like, I don't want to take this shot. It's like you ain't got no choice, dog. It's you. Like you're the only other guy. So I think that plays a part into the development of Wembanyama. Like, I get the safety net we want to put under some of these guys. But some of them, right? Like, when you're the number one pick, sometimes you just got to see if he gonna fall. Like, we can pick him back up, but see if he gonna fall, right? Like, I love what Orlando did with Paolo. Now, again, very different scenario. Orlando sucked. So,
and still does.
And still does. So literally, right? Like, you're just like, oh, of course Paolo's gonna play. We have nothing else. We're trying to still get Markelle Fultz back together. We have 17 point guards, 37 power forwards, and 2 centers. All under the salary cap, by the way.
They got to break that up. So they ain't finna be over the salary cap soon because they got a lot of money they got to dish out here.
Damn, they all hurt, though. That's the wild part.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, Jalen Suggs gets hurt, Markelle Fultz comes in. Markelle Fultz gets hurt, Jalen Suggs comes back off of injury. Freaking Cole Anthony comes in, right? Like, they all are hurt. Jonathan Isaac, I think, didn't he tear his ACL again this year?
Yeah.
Like, they all hurt. So it's just like, everybody's making vet mins because nobody can stay healthy except Mo Bamba, who then got traded. Like, what the heck's going on there?
That's funny. Well, not all those guys are making vet mids, but I definitely get what you're saying. They like that Magic team. They got some shit to break, some stuff to break up. Sorry, caught myself.
That's our one. That's our one.
It's a one. Go ahead,
hey,
bro. It's your ad read, brother.
If you were betting on an over/under on Haize cussing on this episode, you would have been right. If you set the money line at 1.5, there's still time to go. But we're not doing that here because we're telling you guys about Prize Picks. It's so easy, man. I mean, the format of this game is just easy money. You can pick 2 to 6 players, and if they go on to score more or less than your Prize Picks projection, you'll be able to make up to 25 times your money on any entry. No competing against other people, just you versus projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you watch. I'm talking NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA, college football, men's college basketball. I mean, like, literally everything, all the way down to MMA, boxing, right? Like, if you want to bet on the, what was it, Gervonta and what's the other one? Gervonta and the other one. That's really all that matters. That fight's happening this Saturday. Yeah, I mean, like, tune in on that. If you want to put some money on that, you can. Entries can be made in less than 60 seconds. It's that easy, safe, and fast withdrawals. And currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the Prize Picks app today or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive 100% instant deposit matchup up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, Prize Picks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, Prize Picks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100.
Speaking of, Ryan Garcia about to get clapped in that fight.
Hey,
Much like Bulls fans' hopes about to get clapped when the draft lottery comes. That's the same way it's about to happen. But yeah. With that said, bro, Jaren Jackson Jr. winning Defensive Player of the Year in that Alex Caruso also received 3 third-place votes for Defensive Player of the Year, which is wild. Hey, how do you feel about Jaren Jackson Jr. winning Defensive Player of the Year? And then second question I'm going to throw to you. Does Alex Caruso win the Defensive Player of the Year in the Chicago Bulls uniform? Go ahead and answer both those, Pat.
I love that Jaren Jackson won it. He's such an interesting player. Like, when you look at his numbers, it's almost a crime not to give it to him, even though, right, like, he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. So my man's literally career numbers, he plays like 25 minutes a game. Yeah. But in those 25 minutes, he averages like 3 blocks a game, dog.
That's
like,
crazy, bro.
Hey, bro, like 3 blocks a game, like 2, like he's an amazing defender. He's an amazing, you can absolutely tell the impact of him not being in the game with literally how teams instantly just attack the bucket the second that he leaves the game. I mean, he's a guy that alters shots, changes shots. I love the fact that he finally was able to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think that's going to be huge for him. Do I think that Alex Caruso will win a DPOY in a Bulls jersey? If the Bulls can get to a point where they win 52 games, Alex Caruso will be in the running. Because if that were to happen, it means that people are playing in the right position, and Alex Caruso probably isn't spending 35 minutes at power forward.
That's fair. That's fair. I love that there. Here's what I'll say too. As far as Jared Jackson Jr., he's gonna eventually break the NBA all-time blocks record when it's all said and done if he stays healthy. Mark my word.
Before Gobert?
Huh?
Before Gobert?
Before Gobert? No, and I'm saying before Gobert. I'm just saying in his career, Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to break the record for blocks all time in a career.
That's a lot of blocks, my boy.
Hey, listen, that's smart. Bro, I've watched so much Memphis Grizzlies basketball.
Me too. Hey, he be swatting the ball.
Bro,
I'm not gonna lie to you.
And some, with his arm length too, there's times where you don't even see that he's near the play. All you see is this hand come in the camera frame. You're like, what's this happening?
All-time blocks leader is who? You got
Hakeem
Olajuwon with 3,830 blocks.
Who's next? Dikembe's under that, I'm guessing.
I clicked that up. Hold on. You got Dikembe Mutombo.
I just want to see if I can guess the top three. All right, so Dikembe, and then who's the third? Is Patrick Ewing?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Where's Patrick Ewing at on the
Patrick Ewing is 7. I guess I shouldn't disrespect Patrick Ewing. That was more Knicks hate than anything. Bro.
Yeah, I hate admitting so I feel you there. That's crazy. Is Rudy Gobert even in the top 20 right now?
No.
Serge
Ibaka is, though.
Serge Ibaka's in the top 20?
No, Serge Ibaka's in the top 25. So you're 20 right now. You got Theo Ratliff, Kevin Garnett, George Johnson. This is 22-1. George Johnson, Manute Bowles, Sean Bradley, Ben Wallace, Dwight Howard, who it's crazy he's not on the NBA All-Top 75, 13th on the block list. Marcus Camby, Alonzo Mourning, Robert Parrish, Trey Rawlings, Shaq, Pat Ewing, David Robinson. Tim Duncan is 5. Mark Eaton is 4. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is 3.
I fluffed on that.
And Hakeem is 1. I don't know about that Jaren Jackson prediction, my boy. What he at?
He's probably not even in the top 150 at this point, bro. Like,
oh no, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, what's his career blocks right now? Let's see. Jaren Jackson right now, career blocks. Oh, they gave me like all the stats. All right, that went too deep on me. Why ESPN just can't give me what I'm asking for, bro?
Because they gotta make it difficult for you.
They gotta make it difficult, bro. He had 65 blocks. He had 65 steals this season. It's doing too much. 189 blocks this year.
Just this year?
What's
he at for his career?
Blocks. I had to go to StatMuse. You know, StatMuse will do it right.
They make it easier.
Jaren Jr. career blocks. He is at 558 blocks in his career in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons.
Yeah, I may be smoking a little bit on that.
Hey, you know what that sounded like? Remember last offseason, Andre Drummond said he's gonna go down as the greatest rebounder of all time.
That's hilarious.
Bro, and we were trying to figure out an angle at which, like, what he could have meant that might have went into the. It's like, hey, bro, like, maybe he meant per game. Well, he couldn't have meant per game. This man averaged 25 rebounds a game. Or maybe he meant like career average, right? Like, must go down at the end. No, he couldn't have meant that. This man finished with 18.
That's crazy. Yeah. But as far as Caruso, I'll say this. Like, I agree with your analysis there. Like, the Bulls have to win first. To get a DPOY, you have to be on a team that is winning. And not just slightly above 500. You got to be at least 10 games above 500 realistically. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's possible. That's if Alex Caruso is even still in the Bulls jersey by the end of this offseason, but we'll see. So, I mean, if he does, if Alex Caruso is even in the top 3 voting of Defensive Player of the Year, to me, that just tells me that the Bulls had a heck of a season. So bring it on.
Hey, I hope that it happens, man, because I think the biggest thing out of that, right, is that AC is a good player when he gets to play the position he's supposed to play.
Yeah, not starting at power forward.
When he's got to guard power forwards and centers, when he's starting a game versus Serge Ibaka, or not Serge Ibaka, Pascal Siakam, same thing. You're starting the game versus somebody who's like only 9 inches taller than you are. It makes it a little tougher. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Hopefully we get that together. I think that's it for us for
That's
today,
it,
though,
bro.
my boy.
That's
hey,
it.
man.
It's
Follow
off
us on
season.
everything. It's off season, baby. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Appreciate y'all for showing love, man.
You can follow me at CEO Haize, at CEO Haize. And thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. And we'll be back tomorrow with more content for you guys. We're not going away, even though the Bulls season is done. So make sure you guys are tuned in. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave us a 5-star review on your pod catcher of choice too, by the way, because we're trying to gain in the standings there. But that is it for Pat the Designer. I'm Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls. We out, y'all. Peace, man.
Peace.